Not only is he the head of Titus Worldwide, but I will tell you this. This is the best dressed man in the WWE.
He really is.
I mean, every time I see Titus, he has a different suit on that he's impeccably dressed. The suit is perfectly tailored, and he's the only guy I know that can mix and match colors that have no business being with each other. Like, I've seen him wear like orange and greens, and it works.
I remember one time Billy Ray told me...
Bully
Ray, excuse me. I always call him.
Well, you guys are friends, so maybe,
Ray.
I don't have that type of relationship.
He gave me one of the best
him.
compliments that one grown man can give another one. And I don't know if you remember this. He said, "Man, with all due respect, you are a gorgeous man." Like, you dress very well. He called me gorgeous.
He's gorgeous. Like you see, he's so impressive looking in his suit, and he comes walking, and he's got the suit and the tie pin, and he's got the silk scarf, and everything is in perfect place.
It's unbelievable.
Like you should aspire to dress like a man like this.
And here's the thing, Bully. You're not going to believe this, but when I got up this morning, I knew that Titus O'Neal was going to be a guest, and I knew he dresses sharp, so I figured, you know what? Let me put the button-down shirt on, try to look a little presentable. I come in, now I look like a homeless person compared to Titus, so I learned my lesson. Yes, maybe I need to step up my game when it comes to the way I get dressed. I was a Utah Blaze fan.
Oh,
and
wow.
you played with the Utah Blaze, and at the time that you played with the Blaze, Danny White was the head coach, who's my favorite Cowboy of all time. So, and I was also a fan of the University of Florida, and you're in their Hall of Fame. So you had an amazing football career before you became a pro wrestler.
Yeah, I've done pretty well, especially for a kid that was deemed to be headed to jail or dead by the time he was 16 because of my upbringing and the things that I had to go through. Along the way, I've played for some extremely special people, and Steve Spurrier being at the top of that list. He unretired his jersey for me to wear at the University of Florida, number 11, because of my path of having to get there. And Danny White is clearly one of the most special people I've ever had the opportunity to play for as well. Bob Stoops. I mean, I can list names on and on. Charlie Strong recruited me to the University of Florida. It's become a great friend. I was just with James Franklin, over the weekend, head coach at Penn State. My network of people that I've met along the way has been nothing short of extraordinary, and I think that's probably one of the greatest assets to being part of, the football fraternity. It's much like wrestling. You work together in the locker room, and people get to know you as an individual, as a person, and there's a certain amount of respect that comes with that. And luckily for me, and fortunately for me, I've been able to not only utilize that to help get people into gyms or work out or make special moments for people, getting tickets to a Ohio State or Michigan game and things like that. But also, I think my biggest thing is being able to put well over 400 kids in college. That being connected helps you do that. But having character and knowing that these guys know that I'm not going to send them a player that's going to be causing issues for them off the field. I'm going to send somebody that's going to work hard, going to have a very high level of character, and hopefully have an opportunity to help them win a championship. But at the end of the day, I want them to go to college and graduate.
Dave, one of the things that has always impressed me about Titus is, you see superstars or you see movie stars or rock and roll stars, people that, have a level of fame who are involved with charity work. But sometimes when I see these people that are involved with charities, you could tell that they're doing it more for PR than their actual love for the charity. That's at least my opinion. With Titus, it's a different story. Titus is so involved with his charities and does so much for his community on so many different levels, and you work with so many kids, and it really is impressive to see what you do. And I'm telling you, man to man, face to face, it is great. What was the first charity that you got started with, and why did you feel so strongly about giving back to your community?
I wouldn't say it was necessarily a charity. It was more so, a pillar of what I feel like is much needed, which is public education. And one of my, she never taught me, but she was an English teacher at my high school. She was gay, and she was the one that pretty much told everybody, listen, if he's late to class, lock the door, because I had the tendency to be a class clown and things like that. And if you have any issues out of him, I'll speak with the coach. She never taught me a day in my life, but she was very influential in helping me see the world in a different place, or a different way. And her view on education was not about, arithmetic and English. It was about learning how to be your very best. And I feel like that's truly the job of every teacher, coach, mentor, is really to get the best out of everyone, right? Because I'm not good at math. Somebody else may not be good at history, but we can all be great human beings. And if we work hard as we can, we'll be successful. And so, I guess the most vocal that I've ever been is really about education, simply because I was a person that was a behavior problem at one point in my life, and I was placed in specific learning disabilities, SLD, not because I was dumb or stupid, but I just never applied myself. And I've seen that cycle happen year in and year out. Well, if they're just bad, they're just bad kids. Well, I learned very early in my life that there's no such thing as a bad kid. There are people that are in bad situations, grow up in bad environments, and they make bad decisions. You take those same exact people, you put them in a good environment around good people, and they will make greater decisions. That's what happened for me. As a product of a rape, my mom was raped at 11, had me at 12 years old, and it was a struggle on many fronts, not just financially, but socially, and most importantly, educationally. My mom didn't receive her high school diploma until after I graduated from high school. So she worked all those years as a waitress, and I never knew that, I was probably the one that was breaking the generational gap in education. I was the first college graduate in my family, and really the first high school graduate when I really thought about it. So education to me is at the top. I think it's early childhood education is one of the reasons why we remain in poverty, especially in underserved communities, simply because the level of level of the youth being educated at those ages, K through fourth grade, it's not all that great, especially the pre-K, which you got to set up the foundation for speech and learning, and it's just a large gap that's not being attended to. So when I get involved with charities, it's not about just raising money and raising awareness. It's really, when I get involved with charity, it's like some people want to raise money and raise awareness, and they put a Band-Aid over situations. I'm looking to try to get the root cause. What is the root cause for why this kid can't succeed? Some teachers, they say, oh, he's just a bad kid, and then they just kind of write him off. Well, you don't also know that same kid probably has to go home to no lights, no food, no father, and constantly being told what they're not going to do and how they're not going to be able to be successful. And so then they come to school and they're hearing the same thing from their classmates, and then in some cases from the teachers and the counselors. And all of a sudden this kid is doomed, not because he can't do it, but because he's not put in a position to do it.
Was there a moment for you where you started to overcome that with everything? Was there like that? I mean, maybe it wasn't just one moment, but was there for you?
No, it was. It was one moment at a place called the Florida Sheriff's Boys Ranch where I went. And there was a gentleman there named Pat Minogue, who was at the time the president of the youth ranches. And he just got into trouble again. They just got out of this big meeting. They were getting ready to send me home. And Pat excused everyone from the meeting and called me in. He said, do you want to be here? And I said, yeah, I want to be here. And he said, why do you feel like you get in trouble so much? And I said, I don't know, man, I'm just a bad kid. And he said, well, first of all, there's no such thing as a bad kid. And I asked him at that time what he meant by that. And he said, I'm not going to tell you the answer to that over time as you get older, because I believe you're going to be successful at some point at a high level. You'll find out the answer to that. But for right now, I want you to look at me. And I looked at him, and he looked me in my face and he said, I love you and I believe in you. And that was the very first time that somebody actually looked at me and told me that they believed in me. and I believed it. And so this guy was a complete stranger, but for some reason or another, he took a liking to me, and not only stopped the process of me going back to an impoverished neighborhood and bad background, but also kind of helped propel me into understanding that there are things out there that I can be great at. I just need to stick with it. So he passed away in 1997 when I was in college, but he watched me graduate from high school. He watched me, he was there when I signed my letter of intent to the University of Florida. Kind of helped with my decision to go to the University of Florida, even though he's from Chicago. He was a huge basketball fan, and me and him had that in common. But it's just one of those things where he took time to say that one sentence at 12 years old that literally changed the way that I viewed not only white people, because I was at the boys' ranch. I was one of only 5 kids out of 150. I mean, I was one of 5 black kids at the campus, and there's a white man here that, you know, you got to call people mom and pop. I never had a dad, so I'm calling a white man and a white woman mom and pop. And this white man, you know, saw enough in me. He saw past my color, past my background, to say, I love you and I believe in you. And that shaped the course of why I do what I do for people from all walks of life. It doesn't, you know, a lot of people say, well, you do so much for the African American community. No, I do so much for human beings, period. You know, I get off a plane and my thing is, let me see how many black kids I can save, or how many white kids I can save, or people will find that I'm very non-discriminate when it comes to doing what I feel like God has placed me on this earth to do.
Wow, thank you.
Phenomenal story.
Yeah.
Phenomenal story. Like, I didn't, you know, I knew some things about you. I didn't know all that. And that is a great, at 12 years old, to have that moment in time and be able to articulate it so well. So obviously in your personal life, so much going on, and you helping out the youth. And just like you said, it's not about a black kid. It's not about a white kid. It's about human beings, and you wanted to help human beings. And to me, that, you know, it's awesome.
Well, somebody that is a part of Titus Worldwide is Apollo Crews, and we all know how talented he is, what he was able to do outside the WWE. Do you look at him and say, you know, this is a future, you know, WWE champion, this is a future main eventer?
Absolutely. I think Apollo has everything. As far as athletically, he's definitely one of the most athletic guys on the roster. But as you know, as he knows that, you know, athleticism alone is not going to take you to the top. It definitely takes charisma and character development. And I feel like that's what, you know, he's being given in with this opportunity with Titus Worldwide, is giving him a chance to open up more, not just come out and smile and look good and do cool moves, but, you know, this is about storytelling and being able to get characters over. And this business, the ones that have been very successful in it, you know, aren't always the best wrestlers or best athletes. They're the ones that can tell a story, keep the audience captivated or entertained in some type of way. And, you know, it's the beauty of what we do on a week in and week out basis. It's great to go out and have a great match. But as Kurt Angle alluded to and said in his Hall of Fame speech, you know, some of the most fun he ever had was pouring milk all over himself, and that was one of the most memorable moments as well. And so that's what you want to have week in and week out, and I think Apollo is working towards doing that week in and week out. He's more excited about doing more social media stuff outside of the ring, and making sure we find the .com people every chance we get, you know, having press conferences with Titus Worldwide. And you know, it's one of those things where he slowly but surely got into that, because I'm big on that. I'm like, hey, if we're not on the show, let's go try to find something to do. And
that is so important, Titus, because what he just said, if Titus shows up to Monday Night Raw and he finds out that he's not on the show that night, a lot of guys will just be like, all right, I'm just going to go to catering 3 times, or I'm just going to take the night off and I'm not going to do a damn thing. Titus looks at it as an opportunity to use the other platforms of social media. So let's go film something for .com, or let's go film something for ourselves. And that is how you can continue to get yourself over in the business today. Just because they didn't hand you something doesn't mean that you can't do something. And that is the attitude that every young wrestler should have. That's the type of stuff that the company looks for. If you take a look like a guy like Zack Ryder,
Yep.
Remember when they kind of let Zack go years and years ago, and they said, go get yourself over? Well, he created an entire YouTube channel and got himself so over that they brought it back. Yes, consequently, they killed the channel, but that has nothing to do with it. But those are the opportunities that every wrestler, young or old, needs to take and create those opportunities for yourself.
And I think not only that, in today's climate of entertainment and in any fashion, and I consider sports to be entertainment. You go, it's not just about, nobody knows what a go route is in football, or some people, the casual fan doesn't know, what a cut block is or anything. They just going to see touchdowns and big hits and things like that. But they want to see celebrations and being an entertainer. And on the flip side of that also too, now we're a publicly traded company that deals with a lot of sponsors and businesses outside of the world of wrestling. And if you can present yourself in a different way to different audiences, then you're winning, because eventually you'll get speaking engagements. You'll get asked to come, as I have done on numerous occasions, speaking at business summits. I spoke at Susan G. Komen's business summit in Dallas, and there you have people like the CEO of Ford, CEO of American Airlines, CEO of Dippin' Dots, all and multiple, and Bank of America, and you have a chance to, for 25, 30 minutes, stand before them and speak and talk to them. And from that, now you have relationships that you can take yourself and use to go forward with things that you want to be involved in as well.